Hey y'all, welcome to day 4 of the Reset Your Mental Challenge Year End Edition. My name is Mia Bia. I am an ancestral healer and intuitive mindset coach. I help people transform their lives from the inside out. And I think I'm going to probably say this for every video. I am so excited for this challenge. Not only because it's something that's near and dear to my heart, but also because I'm doing this. Okay? Can we talk about that? Can I give myself a little pat on the back because baby, today's day 4. We're going to be talking about limits. And listen, some of my limitations had been keeping me from doing what I'm doing right now, but I'm so glad that I have been able to get past that so I can get to it and get this content to you guys. But over the last few days, we've been doing some deep dives. We've been going to places that many times we avoid those spaces. And um, it's important to kind of get in there because we need to unpack why we've been feeling the way we've been feeling. We've been overwhelmed, frustrated, disconnected from clarity, right? That's already been established for quite some time, okay? We got rid of all of that on day 1. Day 2, we decided that we was going to shift things and be grateful and express some gratitude, and that opens some things up for us that knocks some scales off our heart, so we're able to really see what it is that we desire, what we want out of life. That's what we did yesterday. Now today we're going to be identifying our limitations, and we're going to get our power back, because just because we think we have these things that are limiting us doesn't mean that they have to stay there. You feel me? So again, we we've been honest this whole time, hopefully, but day 4 is gonna kind of dig a little deeper in that honesty, and even past honesty, but into transparency. And the best thing about journaling for me, which is why I love it, is because, but I don't know, I'm a very transparent person anyway, but journaling, it's just you and God and that paper, and nobody has to know anything that you write down in your journal. Nobody has to know any of this. Just like we're doing this pre-recorded videos, because you don't have to sit across from me and tell me how you feel, or tell me what you have going on, or tell me what you're writing in your journal. You're just doing it. So the only person that you have to be honest and transparent with is yourself, because God already know what you got going on. You feel me? So journaling is really like, it's like a mind dump. You can dump all your thoughts, everything that you've been thinking out. And that's why I love it so much. So day 4 is asking, what is stopping you? We're looking at these limitations because once we understand our habits, our thought patterns, our belief systems, we can see where our blocks really are. And the truth with that is that we can only do that through self-awareness. And for the people that know me in real life, y'all know that I'm extremely self aware, almost self critical, but we'll talk about that later too. Um, but it's so important to be aware of you, because once you know you, nobody else can tell you who you are. And that, my friend, makes you unstoppable. We'll get more into that too. But like I said in day 3, the most empowering thing that you can realize is that you can only control you. That's it. So when we blame shift, or we're we end up giving our power away by saying things like, I'm frustrated because my boss doesn't see my value. But we got to pause, because you heard about your boss not seeing about your value, but do you see your value? Because if you did, I'm pretty sure there have been things leading up to where you're at right now in your frustration to show you that that boss was never going to value you in the very beginning. So this is where that deep dive comes in, so we can see our limitations and what's really stopping us from having the life that we really do desire, and and that clarity that we need to move us out of this frustration that we're feeling. Okay. So you can't wait for somebody else to validate what you haven't fully embodied yet. Okay. The moment you place your power in someone else's hands, their perspective is what controls you. Their approval, their recognition, that's what creates the limits in your own life. So you're giving someone else power to limit you, so to speak. Okay. And those limits are blocking you from thriving like you really want to. So today's core question that we're writing down is, what is truly stopping you from having the desires that you talked about yesterday? Write that down, jot that down, voice note that, sit with it, meditate on it, all that good thing. Process it. Process it. Because as you reflect, I want you to understand that your beliefs about yourself can block your evolution, right? So if I place my personal power into someone else's hands, what they think about me matters more to me than what I think about me, because I don't even know what I think about me. That's a problem. So the limitations equals becoming self-aware, because when you know you will not allow someone else to tell you who you are. And I'm not saying this in the manner of like control, and you know how sometimes we'll be like, oh, that's just the way I am. No, I'm not talking about those things, because we're talking about growth. Okay, we're talking about growth. We're not talking about the trauma based identities. We're talking about who you truly are, like the essence of your being, your morals, your values, those things that don't shift even when trauma may cause the rest of your personality to shift. We're talking about the core beliefs that you have. And even sometimes those core beliefs can be a little scary too, because um core beliefs are usually taught by parental figures or caregivers. And if their core beliefs and their values are kind of iffy, then they're teaching you their iffy stuff. And you may be one of those people that were sent down your bloodline to be that breaker of things. And you may notice, like, okay, this doesn't seem right. But again, you don't have that framework to build on what it should look like. So, although you know it's not right, you don't know how to make it right until you really stop and look at those limiting beliefs and thoughts and habits and all of those things to kind of push you into that space to where you can connect all the dots that you need to connect. Okay. Um Example, money, right? If you say, if your problem on day one was, um I'm frustrated because I don't have money to take care of X, Y, or Z. Okay. Your perspective on money can block your abundance. You may have a fear of abundance and you don't realize that that's what you have. You may have a bad relationship with finances because the people, again, that raised you or your caregivers, not saying that they're wrong or whatever, they could only give you what they had, right? So they may have instilled this belief in you that looks like finances only come paycheck to paycheck. Even though you get money out here, you still may be living paycheck to paycheck because that's your mindset behind it, right? So that can be a blockage for you. Your fear of failure can block your growth. You can be so afraid that you don't want to step out on faith. I'm talking about myself. I had that moment. And when you don't step out, you're stunting your growth. So just like right now, I had to get over my fear of failure and my self-sabotaging behaviors, and I had to move forward and say, you know what? So what if I fail? But I won't know that I failed until I actually get out and try and put it out there and do it. So here I am doing it, okay? Your comfort zone can also block your destiny. We we want to be comfortable so bad. We want everything to feel good so bad. But that's not how it is. Like, you can't expect to grow and be stretched and then not feel some kind of way at some point during the process of your growth. That's just inevitable that you're going to feel some sort of pull, in the situation. But getting out of your comfort zone is important because it can block your blessing if you're sitting inside of a comfort zone. But that's why the whole challenge exists in the first place. Is to help you sit with yourself long enough to hear beyond all those things, your fears, your emotions, your conditionings, your frustration, and you're listening to you and God from a place of power. Reset Your Mental is really about reclaiming your personal power and reconnecting yourself to God, to the divine. Most of the time, when we're frustrated and we're not clear on what's going on and where we need to go, is because we are disconnected from ourselves and in turn disconnected from God. Okay. Um, this challenge, again, it's about recognizing where life, people, systems, experiences have placed limits on you, and realizing that somewhere along the way you forgot that you are powerful enough to take them limits off on your own. A lot of times we wait, we say, "Oh, I'm waiting for God to come through and deliver me from woo woo woo." God's waiting on you. God's waiting on you, you to open that heart up and let that thing in so you can see and feel and process, so you can let the limitations go. It's not, God is not a genie. God is not uh uh the blue man from Aladdin. That's not God. You feel me? It's deeper than that, and you have a part to play. You have a role to play in this thing. And identifying our limits shows us where we put ourselves first and foremost, and God inside of this box of limitations. Because how can I serve a God that is everything, everywhere, and knows everything, and I have limits to what I can do in my life? There's no, I don't have no limits, because God is God and God is in me. So I don't have no limits either. Identifying limits shows us where we made excuses for ourselves, because we do that a lot. And identifying these limits show us where we've settled, because we kind of already saw that back day 1, 2, 3, right? We saw where we settled. But this kind of puts a label on it for us so we can identify what's going on. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I need some explanations. Like, I need to know, like, what, who, how, when, where, so that I can find the root of an issue to fix it. That's how I move. Might be the Virgo in me, I don't know, but that's just how I move. And I know a lot of people, um when you're unsure, it's usually because you're missing some pieces. And once you put those pieces into place, um, you can move on a little swifter. than when you didn't have those pieces. So we're putting some pieces together. We putting some labels on some things so we can figure out what the heck is going on. So we're not frustrated anymore. And here's the truth, right? So many of our limits are really just a mind shift away from dissolving, disappearing. Okay. Where there's a will, there's a way. When you're intentional, nothing can stop you from the life that you desire except for you. Because at the end of the day, no, it's nobody else. We got to learn endurance and perseverance. You feel me? Those are important things that a life teaches us. And we go through things and we feel these emotions. Like I said in day one, they're signals to let us know, woo, stop, slow down, check engine light is on. That's what our emotions are for us. They're literally like those lights that come on the dashboard when you're in the car, when something wrong, tire pressure low, I can't move because my tire pressure low. Check engine light on. You need some brake fluid. Slow it down. That's how our emotions are set up basically to do that for us. And endurance, perseverance, we need those. And just because something is happening to you doesn't mean that it is not going to eventually be happening for you. Um there's there's a limited way to look at things. This is happening to me, and then there's an elevated, evolved way of looking at things, and that this is happening for me, so it can illuminate some areas in my life that I need to fix. That's going to help me down the line, right? Fear is usually the first blockage that everybody has, and everything else stems from that fear. First and foremost, we can say that we are frustrated because our job doesn't value us, or our partner doesn't see us, or people don't recognize what we bring to the table. But often that frustration and overwhelm, it comes because someone else's perception of us is out of alignment with how we truly feel about ourselves, with how we know ourselves to be, right? And these moments are just lessons because they reveal that gap between who we think we are and how we're actually showing up, right? So, deep reflection, moving into those questions now. Are your resources limited because of bad habits, ignorance, or impatience? And when I say ignorance, I'm not saying a lack of intelligence, I mean a lack of knowledge in a certain area. Okay? You can be a genius but also still be ignorant in certain areas. Okay? Second reflection question. When were these limits created and by whom? Right? So some limits, like I said, can come from conditioning. People can only give what they have. So parents, caregivers, environments, they passed on what they knew, even if what they knew was not exactly conducive to their purpose, or even if what they knew is not conducive to your purpose and your path. That's why you have to unlearn things. That's why we're taking those limitations off, so that we can relearn who we are by being self aware. Okay. And are your limitations generational? Did some of these limitations come from your mom, your dad, grandparents? Do they carry some of these same beliefs that are limiting you? And are you trying to build something greater than what you've seen before? If you are, then I'm pretty sure your limits are generational. When I say that I am an ancestral healer, that's what I'm talking about. There are generational issues that each of our bloodlines carry, maternal and paternal side. So you have two different lines of iniquities coming together in you. And some of us are created to be those people that surpass those iniquities and transgressions and turn them into personal power, so that we can break through those curses and become all that we're supposed to be for the bloodline, for the legacy of things. So that's what I mean when you hear me say, ancestral healer. That's why it's important to look at generations. You're looking at your parents, your grandparents, however far back you can go. That's why it's important to look at those things, because that can tell you everything that you need to know about you and why some things are not adding up with you, causing your frustrations. Okay. Also, are your limits legitimate? Are they real? Do they make sense? Are you just saying it's a limitation because it's really an excuse because you don't want to do something because there's a bigger issue at hand? Okay. These questions are meant to stretch you. They're meant to stretch you. They're going to be uncomfortable. I said it would be lighter, but hey, it's a little eh, eh. They 3 and 4 is about the same. Okay. Um, what's stopping you from being who you need to be in order to live in abundance? It takes time. Go as deep as you need to go. If you don't feel ready to answer some of these questions, that's perfectly fine. Take your time. Okay. And remember, I also have that Reset Your Mental journal. I will link that in the description box below, along with days 1 through 3. Um, it's support. It's support. The journal is support. The journal is there to help guide, just like these videos are. Um, day 5, day 5 is coming up. Can't wait to see you. Make sure you like and subscribe.